Welcome to class today. So today's class is Leading Teams in a Changing Clinical Research Environment. And our course aim, at the end of this training, participants should be able to utilize techniques that will enable leaders of complex teams to move their teams from forming to performing. So we'll go through Tuckman's 4 stages of development of teams, with our goal being that if we anticipate what challenges we may face or identify risks early on, we're more able to move through them quickly, efficiently, positively, and end with a high-performing, positive team as an end goal. So we will go through that through our slides today. So my background, I've been in the industry for well over 25 years. I've worked with both sponsors, clinical research organizations, as a study coordinator, CRA, project manager, quality assurance auditor, director of clinical operations, and program leader. So when I present, I generally try to provide real-life experiences, case studies. I've been through a number of inspections with both the FDA as well as other global organizations. So I've definitely done some joint inspections with both FDA, PMDA, as well as EMA and other local agencies. So I really focus on best practice application to the scenarios we face, recognizing that every study is unique. Every company has a different approach, and then especially right now in our society, we have a whole number of challenges that we've never had to face before in terms of people who've never really even worked remotely being completely remote. So for myself, I've worked remotely probably off and on for about the last 20 years, so the changes in our world didn't impact me in that regard. I felt very comfortable setting up, doing webinars, doing calls, managing team members remotely, reviewing data remotely, providing input, working through time zones. But this is new for a lot of people, or again, much more intense or a different approach than people have dealt with before. So we'll touch on that a little bit as well. So jumping into our learning objectives, we'll define a team. What does make a team? And then I'm going to take that a little bit further, and I want to talk about, what really makes a manager and what words we choose when we talk about being a manager, what types of things we want to accomplish, what we want our team to look like. We will explain Tuckman's 4 stages of team development. We will define alignment and collaboration. They're a little bit different, and the other thing we want to consider is how do we really get people to own things, to be responsible for their deliverables, and how much do we have to micromanage versus how much can we trust, and when do we intercede when there's a problem. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We'll provide practical tips a team leader can implement to move his or her team from chaos to performing, and we'll describe best practices for leading virtual teams. So our overall agenda, we'll talk about team development through forming, storming, performing, norming, and performing. So what happens in each of these stages, with our goal being to get through the challenging aspects of it as smoothly as possible. We will focus on putting our theory into practice. What does this mean in real-world situations? We'll look at practical tips for leading teams and our role as coach. Changing the mindset a little bit of just being a manager or just being somebody who checks boxes or has extreme knowledge of the subject area to what do we need to do to actually develop people? How do we coach? So we talked a little bit about what you want to get out of this training. And again, just a reminder, please feel free to jump in, ask any questions at any point. I'll always look for a raised hand. Or you can always just chat it in as a question or comment or story, anything. So please do let me know anything you'd like to ask or share at any time. So our first question is, what is a team? Well, a team is a group of 2 or more people working together to accomplish a task. That's pretty straightforward. Anytime it's not our sole decision, it's a team. We certainly have layers of the team. We have hierarchies in terms of our responsibilities, who we report to, who are our decision makers. We consider our RACI charts. Who's responsible? Who's accountable? Who needs to be informed? Who has to be consulted? All of that does go into a team, but ultimately what we have to do is be able to work with other people. Regardless of roles and responsibilities of the hierarchy, We have to be able to communicate and have people step up to deliver the pieces they're responsible for. Types of teams in clinical research. All team members can work for the sponsor. That would be the pharmaceutical company or device company. In this case, it would be the oncology company. And they have to work across other departments or sometimes within their smaller department and then contract out for other responsibilities. So team members work for a sponsor, and then sometimes we have a clinical research organization or CRO assigned a task for a study, so our data management or statistics, or perhaps they're responsible for the medical writing or the medical monitor, or the decision, or our suppliers, our vendors of the materials themselves, the services we use for randomization, the services we use for central EKG services. Those would be our CROs. And the challenges we face with those groups is that we need them to perform because we hired them, but the problem is we have different sets of standard operating procedures. We have different rules, different expectations within our organizations. So while the concept is we hired them, they work for us, they're still going to do things differently. So we still have to find ways to collaborate, ways to recognize that while it is a paid relationship in terms of work responsibilities, they're still a part of our team. So team members can also work for a sponsor and multiple CROs, and each is responsible for multiple specific specialty tasks, with our goal being that everybody has the end in sight. Everyone has the same end goal, and our job as team leaders is to determine how do we get there.